I'm Michael Irwin. Thanks for watching this video. When it comes to taking off material for a project and starting this, the first thing I do approaching a new project is I read through the specifications. Before we get into the specs, I want to make sure you know about our ePros planner that you can find on eprosstore.com. And this planner I made specifically for the needs that I had. This is the best planner available for electricians. I made it. I use it every day. It is useful to me. When I was a lead electrician, I could have used one of these. If you're juggling multiple projects or something like that, or a lot of tasks throughout your day and having to delegate work, this is a great planner to have. There are daily planner sheets in it where you can break your day up, morning, evening, and afternoon. You can write your goals down in this thing. There are bills of material sheets in here where you can easily take off quantities of material that you need for a project. There are calendar sheets in here and new project scope sheets where every time you start a new job, you can write down the scope of work for that project and who you're assigning what tasks to, as well as what equipment's going to be needed for the project. It's a great planner. Check it out. You can get one on eprosstore.com. Also, I'm going to give away a free planner once this video reaches over 20 comments. So leave a comment in the comment section below on what you think of the video, and I'm going to randomly pick somebody out of the comment section to send one of these planners to, free of charge. I'll even pay for shipping. So make sure you leave a comment in the video and we'll get one of these planners out to one of you. Now, specifications. So I have a set of specifications in front of me. We're looking at a cover sheet here. I usually do not print off specs. I usually download them on the computer, and as I review them, I take notes on my notepad of things that are going to affect my cost. Now, I also have created some documents that make this process easier for you and can be used almost like a checklist to make sure that you've covered all your bases in the specs. And as you fill out this document, you'll be reminded of things that you need to check for and go back and find it if you haven't already done so. So you'll be able to find these on my website soon. In the meantime, I'm going to blow through these specs pretty quickly, give you a few examples of things you need to look for. On this cover sheet, we have the name of the project, and we also have the location of the project. The solicitation number up here can be used to find the link on the federal website to this specific project, so that you can make sure that you have all the documents that the government has uploaded, and make sure you have all the information for this job before you submit your final price. You want to make sure you review the table of contents. It's going to show you each specification section, and they'll be broken up into divisions. Division 1 is general requirements. The first 2 digits in these 6-digit specification codes are the division. So we have 01 all the way down here. That's for Division 1. Now, general requirements, Division 1, will need to be reviewed whether you're a mechanical contractor, plumbing contractor, or electrical contractor. No matter who you are, if you're going to bid this job, you need to review the general requirements. The wage rates are going to affect everyone's price. If you think you're going to bid this job at $15 an hour for your labor rate, and the wage rate attached to this project is $20 an hour minimum, then you're going to start the job out upside down because you plugged in $15 an hour for your labor rate instead of what was called for in the wage rate. They're going to hold you to this because it's in the specs. The summary of work is going to give you a brief description of what the contract is going to include. The project schedule is going to give you the duration of the project. Now, that's important because you may look at a set of drawings and think that you can knock this job out in 6 months, and the duration of the project is actually 18 months. And if that's the case, well, your guys are going to end up being tied up for 18 months. It's going to affect your company, and it's also going to affect the labor that you had plugged into the project. So make sure you review Division 1. After you've done that, find the specs that apply to your trade. I'm speaking to electricians here, so you're going to want to go to Division 26. Division 26 is almost going to always be the place that you need to go to. Sometimes you may find a job where Section 16 is where the electrical specifications are, but for federal jobs, Division 26 is typical. Division 27 is going to cover telecom. A lot of electrical contractors will bid the electrical portion, the telecom portion, and the fire alarm. The fire alarm portion is going to be found in Division 28, Interior, Fire Alarm, and Mass Notification System. So Division 28 for fire alarm, telecom is a 27, electrical in 26. Now within Division 26 we can see different specification numbers, and each of these are for different items, and they have the specs broken up within Division 26. So there's a specification for switchboards, specification for interior and exterior lighting, transformers, lightning protection, and so on. You'll want to review all of these specs in Division 26. When you actually get through the table of contents, you're going to run into a bid schedule. This is going to be in that spec section number 1, the general requirements. The bid schedule is going to be broken up by bid item. We can see item number 1, 2, 3, and so on. Now, on the right hand side, there are blank lines that are for the sum of each of these items. When you submit your price, they're going to want you to break this up and put a sum for each item on each line, and then total it up at the end. You can see that it says base bid up here. At a minimum, base bid is what the contract is going to include at a minimum. So base bid includes the facility itself, the building, and then item number 2 within the base bid is site work. Item number 3 is utility fees. So at a minimum, they're going to cut a contract for this base bid, which is the first 3 items, and they want a total base bid amount put on this line. These bid options here are things that they want you to provide a price for that they may or may not move forward with. So the sums that you put on these lines here for each option that applies to your trade or your scope of work, you may or may not have that sum of money included in your contract when they award the project, because it's an option. They haven't decided whether or not they're going to take it, and they won't do that until after the job has already bid. So keep that in mind when you put your price together. Once you've went through the bid schedule, there will be a set of pages after the bid schedule and the specs that is called an explanation of bid items. When you read a description here, like fixtures, furniture, and equipment package, that doesn't really tell you everything that's included in this bid item. You may have some questions as to what's included and what's not included. That information will be given to you in the following pages, which is the explanation of bid items. I didn't print those off, but just know that they come after the bid schedule. So I finally made it to my trade's set of specifications. We're in 26 here, Division 26. First 2 digits is 26. Here's the specific spec section I'm in, interior distribution system. Now, like I said, I'm only going to show you a few items that would affect your cost, but just know that there's much more than these 3 I'm going to show you. As you go through here, I've highlighted this right here, which is stainless steel plates on finished walls. We're in device plates, but you can see there's a section for splices, bonding conductors for telecom, etc. But once you get to device plates, if you bid the job thinking you're going to put plastic plates up on your finished walls, the specs actually call for stainless steel. What can happen if you miss this in the specs is you could bid the job, you could move forward with the job, and you could put plastic plates everywhere in this building, and then someone come behind you for an inspection and say, hey, you're going to have to remove all these plastic plates and put stainless steel up because that's what was in the specs, And basically, if you had, thousands of plates in this building, or even hundreds of plates in this building, you're doing the work twice, you're losing money on labor, and you've bought 2 sets of plates now, and that's going to affect the material costs that you had in this project. Fittings for each conduit type. Here we have fittings for EMT, very common piece of conduit used in these projects. You have to use compression type fittings for this project. You can't use set screw. So make sure you pay attention to fitting types and which raceways you can use in specific locations. There's an outlet boxes and covers section, types of cable tray that you can use, and so on. Specs are going to tell you whether you can use aluminum feeders or not, or if everything has to be copper. Here we have wiring methods. The minimum conduit size is 1/2 inch. You may think, well, of course, 1/2 inch is the smallest conduit I can buy. Of course, that's going to be the minimum size. But sometimes this will say 3/4 inch. And if you took the job off and went and bought thousands of feet of 1/2 inch conduit, and they come behind you and say 3/4 inch is what was specified in the specs, you're going to potentially lose a lot of money because of that mistake. So you want to make sure you review the specs good, take notes, make sure you cover all your bases, and every job is going to have a set of specifications. Sometimes they're on the drawings, sometimes they are a separate document. Now, for these federal projects, most of the time they're separate documentation. There may be a few jobs in the public sector that don't have specs attached to them, or maybe design build projects, but all these federal projects typically have specifications included. So make sure you review them. Hope the video is helpful to you. Let me know what you think in the comment section.